What's up guys, it's Sunday, which means we're back with a market update. Let's look at Bitcoin, Ethereum and gold. Was a pretty nice week for them, not too much up and down, not too much news, just clean price action. So let's get into the video. Like and subscribe as always, I really appreciate that. And let's get started with Bitcoin. If we, like always, take a quick look from where we were last weekend, that was over here. Bitcoin, Ethereum and even gold made a nice push up. Bitcoin, for example, was 10% pump, which was pretty nice, going back to the previous high of this range since the start of February, which is pretty nice. Of course, now on the Saturday, on the Friday, we saw a little bit of a dump for a 1 hour candle of minus 2%, but nothing to worry about because we've seen pullbacks here. But at the end of the week, we're above the $70,000, which is a massive W, of course, for the bulls. We have our levels. Bitcoin, for example, we still have our major level to break from the previous high. That's $74,800. Then, of course, above that we have a big range here. But for now, with this dump, we created this local level. We have our levels to support here that we created this week, and of course below that we still have our levels. So Bitcoin is looking good. Not too much to discuss. Of course, these are possible trading opportunities. But again, which I want to mention, I share daily updates in the server, of course. But let's say, for example, we were somewhere here. Yeah, we were here. Let's say here. We were here. Then this here is the potential level because this is the failure of this move. But you see price reacted, but price, if you look at the 1 hour, still went through. This was a possible trading opportunity because you see price reacted. So locally you could have had a nice trade, but of course many people don't trade on the 1 minute and just day trade like a couple of hours, so they didn't really catch that trade. But we're in a massive uptrend since the start of the week, so you don't have to try to short every minor level. That is my takeaway here. You can do that, you play the continuation. If we have a support level here, for example, let's say, then you can just aggressively play the continuation. But if the global trend and surely the local trend is strongly up, why would you try to short here if you know that we're in a massive uptrend? The probability is just not there. That's why if I share levels, some don't really work in that sense, they just get railed through, but that's because we're in a strong uptrend, so you don't have to short every possible level. But anyways, you still see that there was a reaction. But apart from that, as mentioned, Bitcoin is looking good. Hopefully we can see more upward potential and movement next week. And Ethereum is basically the same thing, from the start of this week up around 12%, which is pretty good. Though with Bitcoin you see, of course, you saw a strong pump here, but then you saw railing up, while Ethereum saw two massive pumps. This one, of course, and then maybe this one. But also saw a sharp dump. Dumped even further than Bitcoin because they're below the global move to the high here, which is this. We have our levels above this range, of course, from this high, same as Bitcoin, and then our levels above that, and support levels as well that we created this week. So same thing for Ethereum, it's looking pretty good. We saw some nice price action this week. Probably also this pump, I guess, or some pump was created because there was a ceasefire between the US and Iran. So still news plays a massive role, surely. But if it's positive or if it's not like massive, they shouldn't intervene with a price action or with our trading opportunities. Very shortly, Ethereum is looking good. Of course, we saw this pullback, but I wouldn't panic yet. It's normal unless we really go below this. Then it can start to get reversal in trend, but until then we're pretty chilling. And gold is also edging back up to the top of this range, to the $4,867. Sorry. We're looking pretty good. We still have this support level. We didn't sweep it there. We nearly swept it. We have this box. We have these two levels. And price opened great with a pump. Tuesday, I don't know what this was, just a massive pump, also because of the news probably. And it's looking good. I hope next week gold can try to gain this level and look from there to try to go back to all-time highs. But like mentioned during the past weeks, we're still far from all-time highs. But gold, I also don't have much to say. Trading opportunities lay in these two zones. But apart from that, they just pumped a bit this week. They were up. Of course, we saw, where is it? Monday. Saw a little bit of dump, then the pump with the news, then a small correction and some raging. So a bit less pumpy than Bitcoin and Ethereum and crypto, but still gold is looking pretty okay and have nice range over here now since the start of April. I want to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully there is a bit more next week. Of course, we just all want price to plummet, but maybe with some news or a dump or whatever, then we have some more to discuss next week. Market update video. But for now, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.